Words are just a small part of communication. What's said is often not as powerful as what's unsaid. Have you ever wondered how some people can walk into a room and immediately know exactly what others are feeling? It's not magic, it's a skill that anyone can learn. Imagine being able to understand someone's thoughts, emotions, and intentions without them speaking a word. What if you could detect hidden motives, gauge someone's true feelings, and connect with people on a deeper level simply by reading their body language and subtle cues? In this video, we're going to reveal how you can master the art of reading minds without saying a word. You'll learn how to decode emotions through facial expressions, body movements, and even the silences that speak volumes. The ability to read people accurately is a game changer in both personal and professional life. It boosts your confidence, sharpens your intuition, and gives you an edge in every interaction. Ready to unlock the secrets of human behavior? Let's dive in and transform how you communicate and connect with others. Chapter 1. Master the art of watching without speaking anything. You want to learn how to read minds without saying a word? Then start here. Learn to master the art of watching. That's it. Watching. Most people never do it. They see, but they don't watch. They hear, but they don't listen. They live with people, talk to people, work with people, but they don't really observe people. And that's where the power is. That's where understanding begins. That's where clarity shows up. And if you can learn this skill, if you can sit still, open your eyes, stay silent, and watch with full attention, you'll start to notice things that others miss. You'll begin to see truth before it's spoken. You'll feel what someone else is feeling before they say a single word. It's not magic. It's not mind reading in the movies. It's psychology, it's discipline, it's awareness. And more than that, it's human understanding. It's the kind of understanding that changes how you lead, how you love, how you live. Most people are busy trying to get heard. They talk fast, they interrupt, they think about their next sentence while someone else is still speaking. But the most powerful people? They wait. They watch. They pay close attention to what's being said and what's not being said. They don't rush to judge. They don't jump in to prove something. They stay quiet. They observe. And that silence gives them something most people never have: clarity. Here's the truth. People reveal themselves every moment of the day. You don't need them to confess what they're thinking. You just need to see them, the way they move, the way they shift in their seat, the way they avoid eye contact when they lie, the way they touch their face when they're nervous, the speed of their breathing, the little shake in their voice, the tone that changes when they feel. It's all there. It's always been there. But you can't see it unless you train your eyes to watch. And it takes practice. It's not automatic. You need to slow down. You need to quiet your thoughts. You need to stop trying to impress, stop trying to get your turn, and instead tune in with every part of your attention. It's a mental workout. At first, your mind will wander. At first, you'll miss the signs. But if you stay consistent, you'll build the skill. And when you do, you'll never interact the same way again. When you walk into a room, stop trying to be the loudest person there. Be the one who notices. Be the one who picks up on what others miss. Watch how someone holds their phone. Are their hands shaking? That might tell you more about their current state than anything they say. Look at how people interact when they think no one's watching. That's when the truth comes out. That's when the masks come off. The art of watching is about respect. It's about valuing people enough to really see them. It's about paying attention because you care, not because you're trying to gain something. When you watch with that kind of sincerity, people open up. They feel seen, they feel heard, even when you haven't said a single word. And that's powerful. You don't need to be a genius to do this. You just need to care more. Care enough to slow down. Care enough to notice the discomfort in someone's body language when they say, "I'm fine." Care enough to see the shift in mood when someone walks into the room. Care enough to study the difference between someone who's smiling because they're happy and someone who's smiling because they don't want you to know they're hurting. That kind of care, that level of attention, creates connection. It builds trust, it deepens your relationships, and it does something else. It strengthens your judgment. You stop reacting to words. You start responding to truth. You stop guessing what someone meant. You start knowing. And the more you train this, the stronger it gets. It becomes natural. You'll know when someone is lying without having to ask. You'll sense when someone is holding something back. You'll feel the shift in energy when a person's words and emotions don't line up. And that kind of perception gives you an edge. It helps you make better decisions. It protects you from being misled. It helps you guide your children. It helps you lead your team. It helps you understand your partner. All of it because you watched. You watched without needing to talk. You watched without needing to prove yourself. And that gave you insight most people never reach. You see, being quiet isn't weakness. It's control. It's strength. People often think that being loud means being strong. But in the real world, the person who holds their words, who saves their energy, who watches and listens, that's the person in charge. That's the person who sees the truth. And that's the person who can change their life and help others change theirs too. Reading minds without saying a word isn't about tricks. It's about discipline, mental discipline, self-awareness. And it all starts with how you look at people. Not just glance at them, not just hear them out, but really look with your eyes, with your mind, with your full attention. Think about it. How much better would your relationships be if you could see what others are feeling before they explode? How much better would your business decisions be if you could tell who was being honest and who wasn't? How much stronger would your self-respect be if you could walk into any situation and read the room with total clarity? That's what's at stake here. This isn't just about learning to watch people. It's about building a life where you are no longer confused, no longer blindsided, no longer unsure. It's about knowing where you stand because you see where everyone else stands, and you can't get that from guessing. You get that from watching. So start small, one conversation at a time. Next time someone talks, don't plan your reply. Don't drift off. Just watch. Watch how their face moves. Watch how their hands shift. Watch how they breathe. Notice their eyes. Pay attention to their tone. Don't try to analyze it. Just be present. Just take it in. That's the first step. And if you can do that again and again, your awareness will grow. In time, you'll feel more tuned in than ever before. You'll connect with people more deeply. You'll protect yourself from confusion, and you'll carry a quiet strength that speaks louder than any words ever could. You want to read minds? Start watching. Not with judgment, not with fear, but with calm, with confidence, with patience. The world will open itself to you. People will reveal themselves, and all you had to do was watch. Chapter 2. Develop the skill to notice small facial shifts. Most people never realize how much the face reveals. They focus on words, they listen to tone, but they ignore the tiny movements that happen in the eyes, the mouth, the eyebrows, the cheeks. And those tiny shifts, they are everything. They are the signs that tell you how a person truly feels in real time, before they explain anything, before they even know how to describe what's happening inside them. Learning to notice small facial shifts gives you an edge in every part of life, because you stop reacting to what's being said and start responding to what's really being felt. This skill isn't something you're born with, it's something you develop through attention, patience, and repetition. It starts with changing how you look at people, not in a casual way, not with judgment, but with quiet focus and genuine curiosity. You need to be fully present with someone to catch what the average person misses. A raised eyebrow that lasts half a second, a forced smile that doesn't reach the eyes, a twitch near the nose, the sudden tightening of the jaw, the downward glance that wasn't there before a question. All of these speak volumes if you learn how to notice them. To master this, you must first slow yourself down. Your mind can't be racing if you want to see the subtle shifts. You must be calm, you must be grounded, you must be fully here. When someone is talking to you, don't rush to think about your reply. Don't drift off to your phone. Watch their face, really watch it. From the moment they start to speak to the moment they finish, look at how their expression changes with each sentence. Track how their mood shows up in their eyes. Notice if their smile fades too fast. Pay attention to when tension appears and when it disappears. Those moments matter. People may lie with words, they may put on a strong voice, but the face always tells the truth before the brain has time to cover it. Think about the last time you saw someone pretending to be fine, but their face told you otherwise. Their lips said, "I'm okay," but their eyes were distant, or their expression seemed tight, closed, almost afraid. If you noticed that, then you already understand the power of this skill. Now imagine being able to see that every time it happens. Imagine being able to adjust your response, your timing, your choices, based on what someone is truly feeling, not just what they are saying. That's when your communication becomes powerful. That's when trust grows. Most people are not aware of their own facial movements. That's why it's honest. A person can control their words, but it takes a high level of discipline to control every small reaction in the face. And the truth is, most people don't even try, because they're not thinking about it. They're busy trying to sound confident. They're trying to say the right thing. But the face always gives them away. If you're aware enough to see it, you'll never be confused again about what someone truly feels. This ability also helps you become more emotionally intelligent. You start to recognize patterns. You begin to notice how sadness shows up differently than guilt, how surprise feels different from fear. You learn to separate nervous energy from dishonesty. And you do this not by guessing, but by watching real people in real situations over time. The more you observe, the more you see, and the more you see, the more you understand. Not in a surface way, but in a way that's honest and useful. Now, this skill can be used in every area of life. In business, it helps you read your clients, your colleagues, your competitors. You'll know when someone is unsure, even if they say they're confident. You'll see hesitation before a deal is made. You'll pick up on excitement before it's fully expressed. And that helps you lead better. It helps you negotiate better. It helps you connect better. In your personal life, this ability is even more valuable. You'll become more present with the people you care about. You'll start noticing when your partner is bothered, even when they haven't said a word. You'll sense when a friend needs support. You'll pick up on when your child feels anxious or scared, even if they don't know how to explain it. That kind of awareness makes you more supportive, it makes you more understanding, it makes you more human. But to get there, you have to make this a practice. This isn't something you do once. This is something you build into your daily life. Start by picking 1 or 2 people you see often. Co-workers, family members, Friends, when you're with them, pay close attention to their face while they speak. Don't interrupt. Don't judge. Just notice. Look at how their emotions shift. Notice when they smile and when that smile fades. Watch their eyes. Track their reactions when a topic changes. Take mental notes. Do this enough and you'll start seeing what others don't. Another useful practice is to review conversations after they've ended. Replay them in your mind. What did their face show when you brought up that difficult subject? Did they flinch slightly when you mentioned that name? Did they stop making eye contact after a certain question? Reviewing these moments sharpens your memory and your instincts. And over time, this reflection turns into intuition. You'll know what's going on beneath the surface before anyone else figures it out. Also, understand this. This is not about becoming manipulative. This is not about using people's reactions to control them. It's about becoming more in tune. It's about becoming the kind of person who actually sees others, who understands others, who responds with care, with clarity, and with wisdom. That's what this is about. That's what makes it valuable. And yes, it takes effort. Yes, it takes discipline, but it's worth it. Because when you train yourself to notice what most people ignore, you move through life with a different kind of confidence. You're no longer guessing. You're no longer reacting blindly. You're responding with real insight. And that kind of presence, that kind of awareness, is rare. It makes you more respected, it makes you more trusted, it makes you more capable. The people who can see what others don't become the ones who lead. Not because they're louder, not because they're more talented, but because they are more aware, they see more, they understand more. And that understanding turns into better choices, better conversations, better outcomes. So build this skill. Keep your eyes open. Keep your mind clear. Keep your attention sharp. The smallest shift in a person's face could tell you the most important truth of the day. All you have to do is notice. Chapter 3. Train your brain to decode emotional body signs. The body speaks louder than words ever will. If you want to understand what someone is really feeling, you need to go beyond their voice, beyond their smile, beyond their polite responses. You have to train your brain to notice and decode the physical signs of emotion, the posture, the movement, the gestures, the way someone shifts their weight, the rhythm of their breathing, the speed of their movements, how they hold their hands, where they place their feet. All of these are signs. All of these are messages. And once you learn how to read them, you begin to understand what most people miss. Every emotion has a shape. Fear looks different from anger. Confidence doesn't move the same way as anxiety. People don't just say how they feel, they show it with their entire body. When someone feels nervous, they might rub their palms together. When someone is excited, their movements become quick and sharp. When a person feels threatened, their body closes in, their shoulders shrink, their arms cross over the chest as a shield. These signs happen before the person even realizes it. That's why learning this skill matters. It allows you to know what someone's going through before they put it into words, or when they can't. To train your brain to notice emotional body signs, the first step is to observe without distraction. You can't decode anything if you're half listening or thinking about what you'll say next. You have to slow your mind down and focus. Be fully present. Watch how someone enters a room. Do they walk with ease or tension? Do they look around or keep their head down? Are their arms loose at their sides or stiff? These signs tell you how comfortable or uncomfortable they feel, and that gives you insight into what might be happening inside them. Another key part of this is learning to link body behavior with emotional states. You need to start seeing patterns. When someone sits forward during a conversation, it often means interest or excitement. When they suddenly lean back, It could mean discomfort or resistance. If someone touches their neck, scratches their nose, or bites their lips, they may be uncertain or under pressure. These aren't just random habits. They are physical cues linked to emotions. When you start connecting the dots, your understanding of people deepens. But this doesn't come naturally to most people. It requires practice. It requires repetition. You have to train your brain the same way you would train your body. Start by observing people in everyday situations. Watch how they behave when they're calm. Then observe how they shift when they're upset. Do they fidget more? Do they avoid eye contact? Do they tighten their shoulders? You'll begin to notice a rhythm to emotion. You'll see how energy changes the body's movement. And once you've seen it enough, it becomes part of your thinking. You don't have to force it. You just start noticing. When you get good at this, conversations become easier. You're not confused about mixed signals. You don't need to second guess what someone means. Their body gives you the answers. You can see if they agree with you before they say yes. You can feel when someone is holding something back. You can adjust your approach in real time. That's the kind of skill that changes your relationships. It builds connection. It builds trust. It helps you support people better because you're responding to what they're really experiencing, not just what they're saying on the surface. And this isn't about mind games. This is about being more aware, more connected, more human. When you understand emotional body language, you stop missing the small moments that matter. You become the kind of person who notices when someone's energy drops. You see when someone's smile isn't real. You know when someone needs space or when they need support. That level of presence changes everything, from how you lead a team to how you comfort a friend. This skill also helps you manage your own emotions better, because once you know how the body shows feelings, you start seeing those signs in yourself. You'll catch your own tension, you'll notice when you're feeling closed off, and you'll be able to shift your state before it affects others. That awareness makes you stronger, it makes you more disciplined, it gives you more control over how you show up. The people who succeed in relationships, in business, in leadership, they aren't just good talkers, they are good readers of emotion. They know how to enter a room and feel the temperature. They know when to speak and when to pause. They adjust their tone and body to match the moment. That kind of awareness builds influence. People listen to you more when they feel understood, and when you can understand someone without them needing to explain themselves, they feel seen. They feel safe. That's the kind of leader, friend, or partner people trust. Training your brain to read emotional body language is not about becoming perfect. You're not always going to be right. But the goal isn't perfection, it's progress. It's about seeing more than you did yesterday. It's about becoming more present than you were before. Over time, this skill becomes second nature. It becomes part of how you think and interact, and when that happens, your life changes. So start today. Pick a moment where you're with someone. Just one moment. Watch their body. Notice how they're sitting. Notice how their hands move when they speak. Watch their feet. Listen to their words, yes, but don't stop there. Let your attention take in the whole picture. When the conversation ends, take a moment to reflect. Ask yourself, what did I see? What did their body tell me? What emotional states did I notice? Make this your habit. Make this your practice. The more you do it, the more skilled you'll become. You'll stop being surprised by people's emotions because you'll see them before they're spoken. You'll start responding instead of reacting, and that gives you power. The kind of power that's quiet. The kind of power that earns respect. The kind that helps you build better lives, not just for yourself, but for everyone around you. Remember, people don't always tell you what's going on, but they always show you. The signs are there, in how they breathe, in how they shift, in how they hold their body when no one's watching. Train your brain to notice. train your brain to understand, and your ability to connect with others will never be the same. Chapter 4. Sharpen your focus to catch hidden expressions fast. To truly understand people on a deeper level, you must train your eyes and your mind to work together with absolute clarity. You must sharpen your focus. Most people walk through life distracted. They listen halfway, they glance quickly, and they miss the subtle signs that matter most. When you learn to focus with intention, you start seeing what others miss. You start noticing the moments that reveal real emotion. You catch the hidden expressions that flash across someone's face in less than a second. These tiny signals often carry more truth than a long conversation, and they only show themselves to those who are fully present. Focus is not just about staring harder, it's about calming the noise in your mind. When your thoughts are scattered, you won't notice anything important. Your attention will jump from one idea to the next, and you'll lose track of what's right in front of you. But when you slow your breathing, clear your thinking, and give the moment your full attention, something powerful happens. You begin to see expressions most people never see. You notice a slight twitch of the lip, a tightening of the eyes, a glance that lasts 1 second too long. These aren't mistakes. They are honest reactions that happen before the brain has time to hide them. Every person has what psychologists call micro-expressions. These are tiny, fast, emotional reactions that the face reveals when the brain feels something strongly. They are not controlled. They happen automatically, and they happen in real time. A flash of anger, a flicker of surprise, a blink of disgust. These expressions reveal the truth before the words arrive. And when your focus is sharp enough to catch them, you are no longer guessing how someone feels. You know. That's a powerful advantage in any setting, whether you're in a negotiation, a relationship, a meeting, or a moment of conflict. That skill gives you clarity. To sharpen your focus, you must first eliminate distraction. Your mind cannot focus sharply if your phone is vibrating, your eyes are wandering, or your thoughts are rushing ahead of the present. You have to build the muscle of focus the same way you build the muscle of discipline. Begin by practicing eye contact, not the kind that stares people down, but the kind that truly watches. Watch how the person speaks. Watch how their face changes with each thought. Notice their rhythm. See if their emotions match their words. This level of focus will help you tune into what's real. Another powerful method is to train with intention. You can start by watching interviews, videos, or even people in a coffee shop. Pause and pay attention. Watch the moments in between the words. Focus on when the speaker gets emotional, even slightly. What do their eyebrows do? What happens to their jawline? Is their smile even or forced? The more you practice this, the quicker your brain will learn. You'll stop missing the fleeting expressions that people don't intend to show. It's important to remember that most people don't even realize they're leaking emotion through their face. That's why this skill gives you a real advantage. People are trained to speak politely, to manage their tone, to use social filters, but their face doesn't always follow the script. A tight smile can hide frustration. A long blink can show fatigue or stress. A clenched jaw can reveal tension. These things pass quickly. But when your focus is sharpened, you don't miss them. You begin to understand more with less effort. You respond to what's felt, not just what's said. Sharpening your focus also requires patience. Don't expect to master this in a week. It takes time to rewire your attention. But the more you practice, the stronger your focus becomes. You'll begin to feel when something is off, even if you can't explain it right away. You'll trust your instincts more. That's not guesswork, that's trained awareness. You've trained your brain to pick up emotional details the average person ignores. It's also important to control your own distractions. That means taking care of your body and mind. A tired brain won't focus well. A cluttered schedule won't give you room to be present. You must treat focus as a skill you sharpen daily. Set time aside to practice watching. Keep your environment clean. Train your body to sit still. Avoid rushing. When you move slow and think clear, you become more accurate. And accuracy is the key to reading minds without words. When you learn to catch hidden expressions fast, your ability to connect with others improves. People feel understood around you. They feel that you're present, that you actually see them, and that builds trust. Trust is the foundation of all influence. If you want to inspire others, guide them, lead them, or support them, you have to know what they're really feeling, and that means seeing the things they aren't saying. This skill will also protect you. In life, you'll meet people who won't always tell you the truth. You'll enter rooms where agendas are hidden. You'll hear words that sound kind but feel off. When your focus is sharp, your instincts rise. You'll feel when someone is hiding discomfort. You'll know when a compliment is empty. You'll see a lie before it becomes a problem. That doesn't make you paranoid, it makes you prepared. You're not judging, you're observing. And when you see clearly, you act wisely. Over time, you'll become more emotionally intelligent. You'll stop reacting based on surface signals. You'll look deeper. You'll become the person in the room who doesn't talk the most but understands the most. That kind of energy attracts people. That kind of presence is rare, and it only comes from focus. The good news is that you don't need to be born with this skill. You build it. One focused moment at a time. You sharpen your eyes. You calm your mind. You slow your thoughts. And you pay attention. With each step, your focus sharpens, and once you can catch those hidden expressions in real time, your understanding of people and your influence grows beyond what most people ever reach. Focus is a superpower in a noisy world. While others are distracted, scattered, lost in their phones or their own thoughts, you are present, you are watching, you are learning. That's where transformation begins, in stillness, in attention, in awareness. And when you live with that kind of focus, no signal is too small, no truth is missed. You begin to read the room before the words start. You begin to understand others with just a glance. You begin to lead with clarity and calm. That's the reward for sharpening your focus. That's the power of catching what others never see. Chapter 5. Study eye movements to understand silent intentions. The human eye is one of the most revealing parts of the body. It doesn't speak, yet it communicates thoughts, emotions, and intentions clearly to anyone who knows how to observe. When you start paying close attention to the eyes, you begin to notice things you never saw before. You understand what someone is thinking without them needing to say anything. And this isn't guesswork, it's a learned skill. It's observation grounded in real human behavior. When people try to hide what they feel, their words may stay polite, their voice may sound calm, but their eyes always speak honestly. That's why your ability to study eye movements can change how you understand people forever. Eye movement is not random. It follows patterns that reflect mental activity. When someone recalls a memory, their eyes move in a specific direction. When they imagine a future scenario, their eyes shift differently. When they feel unsure, excited, annoyed, or dishonest, the eyes tell the story. But most people never pay attention long enough to notice. They don't slow down. They don't stay curious. They're busy thinking about what to say next or how to respond. That kind of thinking keeps you blind to the truth in front of you. You must learn to stop and observe. When someone speaks, don't rush to reply. Watch their eyes. Are they steady? Are they shifting quickly? Do they avoid your gaze when certain topics come up? Are they wide with interest or narrow with doubt? Each of these movements matters. For example, when a person looks up and to the left, it often means they're trying to remember something real. When they look up and to the right, They might be constructing a thought or imagining a situation. That may seem like a small difference, but it helps you understand what kind of mental process they're going through. Another important sign is when a person breaks eye contact too quickly. If you're asking a question and they look away immediately, they may feel uncomfortable or unsure. If their eyes dart to the side and stay there, they might be feeling guilt or hiding something. If they blink too often, it may indicate stress. If they barely blink at all, it might signal that they are focused or possibly disconnected emotionally. You're not just watching eyes, you're watching patterns that reflect what's happening beneath the surface. Now, it's not about staring at people. That will only make them feel uncomfortable. It's about being intentional. Let your eyes relax, but stay alert. Train yourself to notice changes without needing to analyze every second. The goal is not to become a detective, it's to become present. To feel what the other person is feeling. To understand them beyond the mask. Because the truth is, most people wear a mask in daily life. They say what's expected, not what's real. They smile even when they feel anxious. They agree when they don't want to. But their eyes always reveal what they truly feel. If you want to study eye movements effectively, you must create space for real connection. That means being the kind of person others feel safe around. If someone feels judged, they will hide. But if they feel safe, their body relaxes and their real self starts to show. Their gaze becomes more natural. Their expressions become honest. And that's when you start to learn. You're not just watching, they're letting you see them. That's the power of connection combined with observation. Understanding silent intentions through eye movement isn't about control, it's about awareness. It helps you understand what others need even when they struggle to say it. A friend may tell you they're fine, but if their eyes are distant or blank, they're probably overwhelmed. A colleague might say they agree, but if they glance sideways when you speak, there might be hesitation or resistance. A loved one may avoid your eyes when something important is mentioned, not because they don't care, but because they're afraid. These are moments where empathy matters more than logic, and your ability to catch them begins with your attention to the eyes. To sharpen this skill, make it a daily practice. Don't wait for special situations. Start small. Study people when they talk about things they love. Notice how their eyes light up. Study people when they're nervous. Watch how their eyes become restless. In conversations, stay calm and centered, and focus not just on the words, but on how their gaze moves as they speak. Over time, your mind will start connecting patterns automatically. You'll see when someone is being authentic and when they are guarded. You'll notice when someone is excited about something but trying to hide it, and the more you observe, the more confident you'll become. Remember, this skill is not about knowing everything. It's about noticing more than you did before. Most people live on the surface of interaction. They talk, they listen, but they don't truly see. They miss what's right in front of them. But you don't have to live that way. You can develop deeper vision, not with your eyes alone, but with your mind. You can see what others feel. You can respond with wisdom instead of assumption. You can give people what they need, support, encouragement, or space, because you actually understand them. This skill also helps you make better decisions. When you know what someone feels, even when they're silent, you don't fall for false impressions. You don't get caught off guard. You notice the small shifts that show hesitation, fear, or frustration. And that awareness helps you guide conversations better. It helps you speak with more clarity. It helps you lead with more insight. Because people follow those who understand them. They trust those who notice the small things. And they open up to those who are fully present. There will be moments when someone says they're excited, but their eyes show fear. Don't ignore that. That's your signal to go deeper. Ask better questions, show support, create space for honesty. There will be times when someone claims they agree, but their gaze wavers when you speak. Pay attention to that. That's your cue to clarify, to listen more carefully, to explore their doubts. These are not mistakes. They're invitations to connect on a real level, and you'll only see them if you're looking with the right kind of eyes. This level of focus and care transforms relationships. It makes you a better partner, friend, parent, or leader. You stop reacting to surface words and start responding to real needs. You stop assuming and start understanding. That's not only powerful, it's rare. Most people don't take the time. Most people don't pay attention, but you do, because you've made the decision to understand people better, and that decision sets you apart. In a world full of noise and distraction, your ability to notice the quiet signals matters more than ever. Eyes don't lie. They tell you what someone is thinking, even when they can't say it. And when you train your brain to study those movements, you begin to understand the heart behind the words. That's not magic. That's mastery. And it comes from steady, daily, focused practice. You don't need to rush. Just start with the next conversation. Watch the eyes, be present, be quiet, and see what most people miss. Chapter 6. Build confidence by trusting your silent observations. When you observe people quietly, you learn things about them that they may not even realize about themselves. Their posture, their tone, their eyes, and how they carry themselves in the smallest moments reveal more than words ever could. But observation alone is not enough. You must learn to trust what you see, and this is where most people fall short. They notice things, but they second-guess themselves. They feel something is off, but they explain it away. They sense discomfort in someone, but they ignore it because they don't want to make the wrong assumption. This hesitation weakens their ability to grow in self-awareness and connection. You must train yourself not only to see, but to trust what you see. Confidence in observation begins with allowing yourself to accept the signals you pick up, without needing permission or outside validation. You are capable of understanding people. You have that ability. You've had it your whole life, but it was never sharpened. Maybe people told you not to assume. Maybe you were taught to only trust facts that were spoken out loud. But when it comes to human connection, most of the truth lives beneath the surface, and learning to trust your perception is how you access it. Think about a time when you felt something was off during a conversation. Maybe the words sounded polite, but you could feel a tension in the air. Maybe someone said they were okay, but their eyes told you they weren't. At that moment, you had a choice, to trust that feeling or to ignore it. The more you choose to trust it, the stronger it becomes. You start noticing more, you respond more clearly. You stop looking for clues outside yourself and start relying on your own presence, your own calm, and your own focus. You must understand, building confidence in your silent observations is not about being right all the time. It's not about being perfect or knowing exactly what someone is thinking. It's about building a relationship with your own awareness. When you trust it, you stop waiting for confirmation. You begin to stand on what you see and feel, and that kind of confidence changes how you communicate. It helps you respond without doubt. It gives your words weight because they come from grounded understanding, not surface assumptions. Trusting your observations also strengthens your leadership. Whether you're in a conversation with one person or standing in front of a group, people sense when you're truly aware. They can feel when you're connected to what's happening in the room. They know when you're paying attention not just to what's being said, but to what's being held back. And when they see that in you, they respect you. Not because you try to control the room, but because you understand the room. You can build this confidence with practice. The first step is to stop needing permission to trust your own attention. You don't need someone else to tell you what's true. You don't need a green light to trust what you feel during a conversation. If something seems forced, uneasy, or unclear, that matters. Don't ignore it, don't brush it off. Acknowledge it silently. Let it guide your response. You don't need to challenge the person or speak up about it right away. Just recognize what you're sensing and then respond with calm and clarity. The second step is to reflect on your interactions regularly. After a conversation, think back on what you noticed. Did the person's body language match their words? Did you sense any hesitation or tension? Did their eyes shift when certain topics came up? This kind of reflection is not about judgment. It's about sharpening your attention. Over time, you'll start seeing consistent patterns in human behavior, and those patterns will build your trust in your own awareness. The third step is to simplify your focus. Don't try to read every sign all at once. Start with one thing. Focus on the eyes, or focus on the tone of voice, or focus on how often someone blinks when they speak. Pick one area and observe it fully. When you build strength in one, you naturally start seeing the rest more clearly. It's like building a muscle. Start with manageable weight and then expand as you grow stronger. The fourth step is to stay grounded. When you're present, you notice more. If your mind is racing or distracted, you miss the signals. That's why practicing stillness is part of this process. The quieter you become inside, the more clearly you can read what's happening outside. When someone enters a room, you can feel their energy before they even speak. When they sit down, you notice how they position themselves. When they speak, you catch every pause, every shift, every glance. This clarity comes from calm, not from pressure. The fifth step is to speak from what you observe, not from what you assume. If you notice someone seems unsure, instead of saying, "You seem unsure," you can say, "Take your time. I'm listening." That simple response shows that you saw them without needing to label them. It builds trust. It opens space. It respects their experience without invading it. And when you respond that way, often people begin to trust you. Not because you read their minds, but because you truly paid attention. Confidence in your silent observations is a quiet kind of strength. It doesn't shout, it doesn't demand, it listens, it learns, and then it speaks with care. People are drawn to that kind of presence. They feel safe around it. They feel understood, and in a world where most people are distracted, that level of presence is powerful. Keep training yourself to watch. Keep allowing yourself to trust what you sense. You're not guessing. You're reading real human behavior. You're noticing signs that most people miss, and the more you trust yourself, the clearer your vision becomes. You begin to move through life with purpose. You make better choices. You build stronger relationships. You lead with insight, and most of all, you stop living in confusion, because you've built the confidence to trust your own awareness. That's how change begins. That's how growth becomes real. Chapter 7. Strengthen your patience to truly read someone's energy. To truly understand someone, you must give them time. Time reveals the truth about people in ways that words never will. Most people are in too much of a rush. They want to jump to conclusions, make quick decisions, and get to the answer without doing the work of watching. But the truth about energy, how a person feels, what they're holding in, what they're protecting, what they're hoping for, takes time to show itself. And you only start to see it when you slow down, stay present, and build patience. Patience is the gateway to understanding energy. Without it, you will always miss the signs that matter. When you walk into a room, you don't need to talk. You don't even need to make eye contact right away. Just observe. Feel the space. Watch how people move. Notice who's avoiding attention. Notice who's trying to take it. Some people speak confidently, but their body is tight. Some stay silent, but they're calm and steady. These things can't be noticed in seconds. They take minutes, sometimes more. But if you're patient, the room starts to speak without anyone saying a word. A person's energy speaks louder than their voice. It's there in how they respond to silence. It's there in how they sit when no one's watching. It's in how they look around the room, how they hold their hands, how they breathe between moments. But these things are invisible to someone in a rush. That's why you must learn to slow down your attention. If you stay still long enough, you'll feel it. You'll sense who's hiding something. You'll sense who's hurting, who's proud, who's lying, who's afraid. This is not guesswork, this is clarity. And you earn that clarity by choosing patience over speed. There is strength in waiting, not the kind of waiting that's passive or weak. I'm talking about the kind of waiting that watches with purpose. You look, you listen, you notice, and you don't force anything. This is how you train your sensitivity. You're not trying to control what you see. You're trying to understand it. This approach makes you powerful because people can't hide their energy forever. They can hide it for a few seconds, maybe a few minutes, but the truth always finds a way to show up, if you're still enough to catch it. You build this skill slowly. In conversation, you practice being fully there. When someone speaks, you listen with your whole attention, not just to the words. You pay attention to the tone. You feel their pace. You watch their eyes. Most people listen just to reply. You must listen to understand. If someone takes a breath before they answer, that breath matters. But you won't see these things unless you've trained yourself to be patient. Patience also protects you from false judgments. When you're too quick to decide, you make mistakes. You assume someone is confident when they're just loud. You think someone is honest because they're friendly. But energy doesn't lie, and to read it clearly, you must give it space to appear. When you do that, you stop guessing. You stop reacting. You begin to respond from understanding. That changes everything. How you lead, how you connect, how you protect your time and your peace. You don't need to confront anyone to read their energy. You don't need to interrogate or pressure. You just stay calm, stay focused, and stay aware. Most people give away their truth in small moments. A glance, a shift in tone, a break in rhythm. These things don't happen when someone is trying to impress you. They happen when they relax, when they think no one is paying attention. That's when you see who they really are. But again, that takes time, and it takes discipline. Your goal is not to judge people, it's to understand them. When you're patient, you make room for real understanding. You're not trying to fit people into boxes. You're learning to see them for who they are, and that kind of clarity helps you make better choices. You know who to trust. You know who needs help. You know who's pretending and who's being real. That's what patience gives you, the time to see what matters. There's another reason patience is powerful. It builds respect. When people feel that you're not rushing them, they open up. When they feel your attention is steady and genuine, they begin to show more of themselves. You don't have to ask, you just have to be there. In that kind of space, real communication begins. People feel safe, they don't feel judged, and when they feel that from you, they give you their truth, not the polished version, the real version. This doesn't mean you allow others to waste your time. It means you stay present without forcing results. You're focused, not passive. You're alert, not anxious. And that calm alertness allows you to see what most people never notice. You walk into the same room, but you see more. You talk to the same people, but you feel more. And because you feel more, you understand more. This is how people change. This is how growth happens, when you give it time and attention. Being patient also helps you master your emotions. Sometimes you'll sense something in someone that makes you uncomfortable. maybe anger, maybe sadness, maybe dishonesty. The impatient mind reacts. It pulls back, it judges, but the patient mind watches. It holds space, it learns, and then it chooses the right response. Not the fastest one, the right one. That level of maturity helps you build relationships that last. It helps you lead without control. It helps you live without fear. You can practice this skill every day. Start by slowing down your conversations. Leave space between your words. Notice how people respond to silence. Watch what they do when there's nothing to react to. These are the moments that show you everything. You'll be surprised how much people reveal when you stop filling every second with noise. Also, practice being still in your thoughts. When your mind is calm, your awareness sharpens. You don't miss things. You don't misread people. You pick up on tension. You notice joy. You feel what's behind the surface. That feeling will guide you better than any script or strategy. Trust it, but give it time to speak. Reading someone's energy isn't about tricks or formulas. It's about presence. It's about patience. And it's about paying attention long enough to see what's real. When you master that, you stop being fooled. You stop being rushed. You start living with clarity. You start speaking from understanding, and every room you walk into feels different, because you're not there just to talk. You're there to see, you're there to feel, you're there to understand, and that makes you powerful without saying a single word. Chapter 8. Improve your memory to track behavior patterns daily. To truly understand a person's behavior, you need more than a sharp eye, you need a sharp memory. Because one moment will never give you the whole truth. A single conversation, a single reaction, one smile, one hesitation, it's not enough. What matters is what shows up over and over. What matters is what stays the same when nobody's watching and nothing is expected. People reveal who they are in patterns. And those patterns show up in how they behave again and again, not in what they say once. If you want to become someone who can read others with clarity, you need to train your mind to remember the details that matter, and you need to hold on to those observations long enough to connect them. Most people forget the small stuff. They're too focused on what's loud and obvious, but those things can be misleading. What really tells the story is what happens quietly, consistently, and naturally. The way someone looks when they disagree but stays silent. The way their voice changes when certain topics come up. The way they treat others when they don't need anything from them. These are not things that pop out the first time. You have to observe, store, and reflect. That's where memory comes in. Not just to remember names and facts, but to track human patterns. And if you can do that, you'll start to see truth where most people only see noise. To develop this kind of memory, you have to care deeply about what you're learning. You can't remember what you don't value. That's why so many people forget what others say and do. They're not paying close enough attention. But when you slow down and make it a priority to remember how someone reacts, how their behavior shifts, how their body responds in certain situations, you build a kind of inner record, and over time, that record becomes one of your greatest strengths. You don't need to confront anyone. You don't need to ask for answers. You already know the truth because you've seen it again and again. Think about someone you spend time with often. Ask yourself, what do they do when they are under pressure? How do they respond to praise? What happens to their posture when they're uncomfortable? Do they make eye contact when they're telling the truth? How do they treat those who can't help them? If you've never thought about these things, you've missed opportunities to understand who they are. But the good news is, you can start now. From today, begin tracking these kinds of subtle behaviors. Keep mental notes. You don't need to write them down. You just need to train your brain to pay attention and hold on to the right details. One way to build this muscle is to review your day before you sleep. Go back in your mind and think about the people you spoke to. Replay their responses. Think about their tone. Think about their mood. Think about what they said and what they didn't say. Did their words match their actions? Did they avoid anything? Were they consistent with how they were yesterday? This habit might seem simple, but it sharpens your awareness. It teaches your brain to hold on to useful details, and with time, those details become a map that shows you who people really are beneath the surface. This is not about judgment, it's about clarity. When you remember the way someone behaves across time, you can better understand what drives them. You see patterns that help you predict how they'll respond in the future. And you also gain insight into who is trustworthy, who is stable, who grows, and who stays stuck. You're not reacting to moments anymore. You're reading the full story. That's a powerful place to stand. Memory becomes your tool for emotional intelligence. When you remember how someone acted the last 5 times you were with them, you stop being fooled by the one time they act differently. You're not shaken by one good day or one bad day. You see the person as a whole, not in fragments. That kind of consistency in observation allows you to stay balanced. It protects your energy, it guides your decisions, and it helps you respond with confidence instead of confusion. This level of memory is also what helps you lead. Whether in your family, your business, or your community, people need someone who sees clearly. And seeing clearly isn't just about the present, it's about remembering the past. When you remember how someone handled responsibility before, you know what to expect when you assign them something new. When you recall how someone acted when things went wrong, you know how they'll behave when pressure rises again. That kind of clarity gives you an edge. It helps you protect your time, your trust, and your peace. You also begin to notice changes. Maybe someone who used to avoid responsibility is starting to show up differently. Maybe someone who was once confident is now guarded. These shifts are meaningful. They tell you something's happening beneath the surface. And you won't notice those shifts unless you've been paying attention to who they were before. When your memory is sharp, you don't miss these changes. You're able to support people better, you're able to adapt your approach, and, most importantly, you stay in tune with reality, not assumptions. Improving your memory doesn't mean trying to remember everything. It means choosing to remember what matters. The tone of voice someone uses when they lie, the speed at which someone reacts when they're nervous, the way someone acts when they don't know they're being watched. These things might not seem important in the moment, but they add up. And the person who can connect these subtle signals over time will always have deeper insight than the one who only sees the present moment. To grow this ability, live each day like a student of behavior. Don't drift through conversations. Don't rush past interactions. Treat every moment as an opportunity to observe. And as you gather more of these observations, make it a practice to revisit them in your mind. You're not collecting data to gossip or to judge. You're collecting truth to live better, lead better, and understand deeper. And remember, what you feed your mind becomes your default. If you spend your time memorizing the wrong things, drama, distractions, noise, you won't have room for what really matters. But if you use your memory to track growth, to identify patterns, to stay grounded in reality, you build a mind that sees with clarity and decides with strength. This is a discipline. It doesn't happen in a week. But the person who sticks with it builds a mind that can read between the lines, see the bigger picture, and navigate life with uncommon wisdom. All from remembering the right things, at the right time, for the right reasons. Chapter 9. Control your reactions to understand others with clarity. To understand others with true clarity, you first need to control your own reactions. This is one of the most vital skills you can develop, not just for your personal growth, but also for your ability to connect with people on a deeper level. Often, our initial reactions are the ones that block us from truly understanding others. Whether it's anger, defensiveness, frustration, or even excitement, our emotions can cloud our judgment and make it harder to read the other person accurately. But when you learn to control your reactions, you gain the ability to respond instead of react, which opens the door to better understanding. The first step is recognizing your emotional triggers. Every person has them. It could be a certain word, tone of voice, or a specific behavior that automatically sets you off. These triggers are like a short circuit in your emotional wiring, instantly sparking a reaction that may not always be in your best interest, but understanding these triggers gives you a choice. Instead of reacting impulsively, you can pause and take a moment to assess the situation. This pause doesn't mean being passive, it means responding with clarity rather than being swept up by your emotions. Once you understand your triggers, you can begin to practice the art of observation. When someone says something that typically causes you to react, you can take a step back and focus on their body language, their tone, and the context of what they are saying. By keeping your emotions in check, you are no longer driven by your own internal reactions. You become a neutral observer, gathering information from the other person's behavior, facial expressions, and tone of voice. This allows you to assess the situation with greater objectivity. It's also important to realize that people often communicate in ways that may not align with their true intentions. Someone may raise their voice not because they want to argue, but because they are nervous or passionate about the subject. If your first instinct is to match their energy and respond with the same intensity, you'll miss the underlying message. However, when you control your reaction, you can dig deeper. You can ask questions to clarify their true intentions or understand the emotions behind their words, giving you a clearer picture of who they are and what they need. Another key aspect of controlling your reactions is the ability to listen actively. Active listening goes beyond hearing the words. It involves paying attention to the unspoken signals that come with those words. People often express more through their body language and facial expressions than they do with their words. If you're too busy reacting to what's being said, you might miss important nonverbal cues. By calming your immediate reactions, you allow yourself to absorb the full message being communicated. You also open up the space for the other person to express themselves more clearly, which ultimately allows you to understand their perspective more fully. When you control your reactions, you also build trust with others. People can sense when someone is genuinely listening to them versus when they're just waiting for their turn to speak. If your reactions are constantly interrupting or showing impatience, it signals to the other person that you're not fully engaged with them. But when you control your impulses and react thoughtfully, it shows respect for the other person's words and feelings. This creates an atmosphere of openness where both parties can speak more freely and honestly. Additionally, the ability to control your reactions makes you more adaptable. Every person has a unique way of communicating. Some are direct and straightforward, while others may be more subtle, using hints and nuances to convey their message. If you are too quick to react in your usual way, you might misinterpret what someone is really saying. For example, someone who is more reserved might come off as disinterested or cold if you're responding with a high-energy, emotionally charged reaction. On the other hand, someone who is more assertive might be seen as aggressive if you respond with defensiveness. But when you control your emotional reactions, you can adapt to the other. Opponent's style of communication and respond in a way that fosters understanding rather than creating barriers. Understanding others with clarity also means accepting that not everyone thinks or feels the same way you do. It's easy to project your own thoughts and emotions onto others, assuming they see things the same way. but that's not always the case. People have their own histories, beliefs, and emotional landscapes that shape how they react to situations. When you control your reactions, you open yourself up to seeing things from their perspective. You begin to ask yourself questions like, what might they be feeling right now? Or why are they responding this way? Instead of jumping to conclusions, you create space for empathy and understanding. This practice of controlling your reactions also helps you manage conflict in a healthier way. In any disagreement, emotions tend to run high. It's easy to get caught up in the heat of the moment, matching the other person's intensity or defending your position. But when you control your reactions, you can engage in the conversation without letting it spiral out of control. You can focus on finding common ground, asking questions that allow the other person to express themselves, and offering solutions rather than just winning the argument. This doesn't mean you won't have disagreements. It means you can approach them with the goal of understanding and resolution, rather than escalation. In the end, controlling your reactions is not about suppressing your emotions or pretending you don't feel a certain way. It's about mastering your responses so that they align with your goals of understanding and connection. When you react impulsively, you allow your emotions to drive your actions, which can lead to misunderstandings, conflict, and missed opportunities for growth. But when you take the time to control your reactions, you allow yourself to be more present, more attuned to others, and more capable of building meaningful, authentic relationships. In essence, controlling your reactions allows you to see others as they truly are, without the filter of your own emotional responses clouding your perception. You can understand their words, their actions, and their intentions with greater clarity. And this understanding creates the foundation for stronger connections, better communication, and more harmonious interactions. When you master the ability to control your reactions, you open up a world of possibilities in your relationships with others. You stop reacting from a place of emotion and start responding from a place of insight and understanding. Chapter 10. Practice reading silence when words are not spoken. Silence is often more telling than words. It's in the pauses, the moments when no one speaks, that some of the most significant communication occurs. Learning to read silence is a powerful skill, one that opens the door to understanding more than what is being said. Words are only part of the story. The way silence wraps around a conversation, how it lingers or shifts, can tell you just as much, if not more, about the true emotions, intentions, and thoughts of the people around you. One of the first things you must understand about silence is that it is not always uncomfortable. Many people view silence as awkward or something that needs to be filled quickly with chatter. However, silence can be a powerful tool for observation. It provides space for reflection, for assessing the unspoken energy in the room. By becoming comfortable with silence, you begin to notice the subtle cues that people give off when they are not talking, the way they breathe, the slight shifts in posture, the way they glance away, or the tension in their shoulders. All of these are messages. If you rush to fill the silence with your own voice, you might miss them. Silence can reveal emotions that words often cannot. Consider a situation where someone is upset but doesn't vocalize it. If you're paying attention, you might notice a sudden shift in their energy. Their breathing might become shallow or quicker, their posture stiffens, or their eyes might flicker with emotion. These small changes speak volumes. A person who is anxious may avoid eye contact, clenching their fists or tapping their foot. Someone who feels disconnected might withdraw into themselves, their eyes looking elsewhere, their body turned away from the group. These are forms of silent communication. They carry weight and significance that mere words can't express. Silence also allows you to read between the lines of the spoken word. People often say things they don't fully mean, or they may say something while their body language contradicts their words. For instance, a person may say, "I'm fine," but their body might tense up or their lips might curl into a slight frown. These discrepancies can be more revealing than the actual words themselves. When you pay attention to what's not being said, you gain insight into the true meaning behind the words. There's a particular power in being able to stay quiet while someone else processes their emotions. In moments of silence, you give others the opportunity to express themselves fully, or perhaps to gather their thoughts. The simple act of being present, not pushing for immediate answers but allowing the silence to unfold, can deepen your understanding of the other person. It's easy to jump in with solutions or responses, but in silence you create an environment where someone feels safe to reveal what they might otherwise keep hidden. Practicing reading silence requires patience. It means resisting the urge to fill empty spaces with noise and allowing moments of quiet to develop. It's about observing the subtle physical cues that accompany silence. A person's eyes can tell you more than any word ever could. For example, someone who is avoiding eye contact might be hiding something, feeling guilty or unsure. Conversely, direct and unwavering eye contact could indicate confidence, truthfulness, or even an attempt to assert dominance. How long the silence lasts can also be informative. A long pause in conversation might signify discomfort, contemplation, or a lack of something important to say. On the other hand, a brief silence could mean the person is trying to process something, or it could indicate a sudden realization or shift in mood. Body language plays a significant role in how silence is perceived and communicated. When a person remains silent but their body language is open, such as uncrossed arms or leaning forward, they are often more receptive to the conversation. This is a signal that they are listening and are willing to engage. If their posture is closed off, however, such as crossing their arms or backing away, silence may indicate defensiveness or a desire to distance themselves from the situation. It's crucial to remember that silence isn't just about the absence of sound. It's about the presence of feelings, thoughts, and subtle messages that get communicated through body language. In some cases, silence can also signal power dynamics. When someone deliberately chooses silence, they may be exercising control over the conversation. A person who remains silent in a tense situation may be deliberately withholding information, choosing not to reveal anything until they feel it's the right time. Alternatively, silence can be used to create a sense of dominance or superiority, forcing others to fill the void with their own words, thus putting the person who remains quiet in a position of control. Recognizing when someone is using silence for strategic purposes helps you decode their intentions more effectively. Silence can also reflect emotional depth. People who are comfortable with silence are often more attuned to their emotions and those of others. They don't feel the need to speak constantly because they understand the power of listening, not just to words, but to the feelings and energy that are present in the space. When you learn to embrace silence, you develop a deeper empathy, because you're not just reacting to what people say, you're responding to what they're feeling. This kind of awareness allows you to connect on a more genuine, emotional level. It's also worth noting that silence is not only found in personal interactions. In larger social settings, you may notice how silence hangs in the air between groups or individuals. In a room full of people, moments of silence can indicate discomfort or tension, but they can also signal an unspoken connection. Sometimes, people can sit together without saying a word and still share a profound bond. These moments often occur when words aren't necessary to communicate the feelings that exist between individuals. You can feel when someone is present with you, without having to say a single thing. It's an unspoken understanding that goes beyond language. To practice reading silence, it's important to cultivate mindfulness. Stay attuned to the environment around you. Observe the way people behave when they aren't speaking. Pay attention to the smallest movements, how their hands fidget, how their eyes dart, how their breathing changes. These are all silent indicators of what's going on inside. You'll also need to pay attention to your own responses. Notice how you react to silence. Do you feel uncomfortable or anxious, or can you simply allow it to unfold? The more comfortable you become with silence, the more easily you will be able to understand the unspoken emotions and thoughts that others are conveying. Reading silence is not just about interpreting quiet moments. It's about understanding the full range of communication that happens without words. It's a skill that allows you to observe and interpret the subtleties of human interaction. When you learn to read silence, you gain access to an entire world of emotions, thoughts, and intentions that are often left unspoken. By becoming more attuned to these silent cues, you can deepen your understanding of others and cultivate stronger, more meaningful connections.